legit shouldn't be. Okay, can we all agree that? Okay, never mind. Okay.
Well, I'd like to tell you why I think Ashton Shabazz should not be president.
Look who he is. He's 4 years old and he doesn't qualify. Next.
Oh my god.
No, in mech he's like 50 something.
I'm about to nay this. I'm sorry. Nay.
What do you name?
Pharrell for president.
I just named a budget in mech
Why would you name a budget? Budget's
because
always
it
made.
literally has blanks on it.
Oh
We're
yeah.
live.
I ate it just because.
All right, can I go back? Can I start off again?
Yes.
Here we have grow.
All right, here we go. Well, again, so when it comes to the question of the economy, I'm going to actually answer the question and not skirt around the issue. When it comes to our economy, the way to put money in the pockets of American workers is one by increasing the minimum wage. First things first, I am opposed to a $15 minimum wage. People would say, oh, yeah, well, you just don't want to put money in the hands of American workers. No, it's because I take into consideration small businesses. When you raise the minimum wage to small businesses and it's in the name small, you have to be considerate of them. If they end up paying the minimum wage, which if it was to be $15 an hour, it could essentially drive them out of business. So I am for raising the minimum wage to $12, no more than $12.50. Anything higher, I am really opposed to. Another thing is our trade deals. We have to make sure that we're getting trade deals that actually benefit us. Renegotiating NAFTA, renegotiating CAFTA, TPP, and opposed to that. We have a lot of these trade deals that we really need to renegotiate and negotiate again so that we can have a lot of our jobs stay here. And that's really a big reason why a lot of our jobs leave is because of the foreign policy that has been laid out by this current administration and the lack of foreign policy and the lack of foreign diplomatic solutions to issues. That's a big reason why a lot of our jobs are actually leaving this country. So as president, I vowed to work with Congress to raise the minimum wage, work with my Secretary of State as well as foreign leaders to get a trade deals, that benefit us in the long run. Thank you.
I have a rebuttal.
Bottle.
I have a rebuttal. Can I make said rebuttal?
Okay. 90 seconds.
So, two parts there. To referred to the minimum wage. So, the minimum wage, whoever that is, can you mute your mic? Thank you. Terrell referred to the minimum wage and says how he does not want it to be $15 an hour and how it would harm small businesses.
Yep.
Now, this is, can you not interrupt me? This would be true. This is very true. If you raise the minimum wage straight from selling $7.50 to $15 straight away, because there's no way that the businesses have time to reallocate funds to work out how they're going to change their revenue budget accordingly. But studies show that the minimum wage, if you increase it gradually over a period, let's say 10 years, so that it finally reaches $15, it will not necessarily have mass unemployment cause. It won't shut down small businesses such as Scaremongers would like to tell you. And second of all, I would like to inquire as to which specific provisions in NAFTA, CAFTA, or TPP Mr. McCann, Senator McCann, is opposed to.
Okay, thank you. So I think Robert should go now.
Ooh, wait, I didn't go. Did Robert go?
I already went on this question.
Okay, I'll go then. Okay, so what's the question?
Economy, middle class, blah blah blah. You know the deal.
Oh, okay. So when it comes to the economy, I believe in a few things. First things first, I want to get tax cuts for the middle class. Can someone mute themselves because?
Yeah,
okay, whatever. I want tax cuts for the middle class. This will put more money in the hands of workers. I want a universal basic income, which will also put lots of money in the hands of the working class, which will make our economy do much better. I want to create a lot more jobs, and I agree with everyone when it comes to trade. I want fair, free trade. Thank you.
Okay, so who goes next? Grover, Jasir, best.
Well, I guess it's Hall of Famer because Jazir's not here. And then next question.
Okay. Ashton,
He's not here.
Not here.
not here. Talking Dog,
Not running.
not running.
It's Lewis.
Grover just answered. So it's just Maiwa, Terrell, Grover, and Robert, right?
Yes, it is.
And T-Dog.
But okay,
Yeah,
Chuck,
Robert
could you
is
answer
running.
my question, please, about economy and the middle class? If you're running. Oh, dear.
Not running.
I guess.
Thank you.
Is that towards
So
me?
let's go to the next question.
I am running.
Okay, good day.
Okay, so economy and the jobs, Lewis.
Economy and jobs. Answer that question, please.
I think the first thing that I would do if like the president would like Grover said, make a tax cuts. Hold on, let me change my thing. Hold on.
Okay. I would make tax cuts probably for the middle and the working class. And I would also expand with free trade. I would also make programs to help people find more jobs if they're being laid off. I have a lot of more programs to put in place to be elected. And the economy is okay. I would say right now it's okay, but it needs a lot of work. Thank you.
Okay.
I
So
have a rebuttal.
okay.
Just to clarify before I have my rebuttal, I just want the exact phrasing of what you said. You said you had programs to help people out of work. Is that correct?
Correct.
I just considering this is a debate, we'd like to know about your policies. What are the specifics for these programs?
Well, with the programs I have, I would definitely say if somebody has been laid off and they would how can I say it? Like the programs I have in place would help them find jobs, basically like unemployment, like they will go to the unemployment line to find new jobs. That's basically what I have in place, but more. So program like if like certain websites like, hey, are you lost finding a job, like post your qualifications, education, how far did your education go, and like where do you live and like how far can you travel, right, and post the job availabilities with their choices they make.
That's fine.
Okay. Then we're moving to the next topic. This is a pretty heated topic, and this will be your stance on abortion. Full explanation and justification, saying why. Yeah. Okay, that basically.
So who's going first?
Well, I
I'll
went first
volunteer to
last
go
time,
first.
so I guess I'll go last.
I'll volunteer to go.
Okay. Quentin Lewis, since you went last.
I said I would go first.
Yeah,
Okay.
Terrell said he'd go first.
Well, here's what I will say, and I will reiterate this. I said it before, and I will say it again. I am pro-life in cases of exceptions, and you know the usual exceptions: rape, incest, harm to the mother, things of that nature. Okay, that's really my stance on abortion. And honestly, you really want to know. I think that I know this is a heated topic, and that's why it keeps being brought up. But really, yeah, that's my stance on abortion, and that's the end of that.
I'll go next.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm fully pro-choice. I think of women as it's not the government's place to tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body. After a certain period of time, I think that. Bro, you're gonna stop that? Yeah, there we go. I think that after 18 weeks, the fetus should not be able. I mean, a woman should not be able to get an abortion after 18 weeks. But I think before that, she should be able to do whatever she wants. Should the government fund abortions? Maybe not. But we should continue to fund Planned Parenthood as it does very, very good things for all women. It does mammograms and cancer screenings. It does
That's
STD.
wrong. By the way, I'm clarifying. I think it's wrong.
Oh, I think they do.
Huh.
I thought.
I will fact check.
Yeah, fact
if you
check
know
that. Fact
something-
check that.
if
Yeah, I thought.
something's wrong, I will fact check. But
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, Planned Parenthood does a lot for women's health. So who's going next?
I'll go next.
Thank you, Grover.
So when it comes to abortion, I am simply pro-choice. I believe it's up to the mother. Does that mean I'm pro-abortion? Not necessarily. I would like to expand other programs to help, I guess reduce the number of abortions. However, at the end of the day, it's not my decision. It's the mother's.
Planned Parenthood does do cancer screenings.
Okay, thank you.
Mayo.
Let me.
Right. Okay. So my stance on this is that you could classify my personal stance as pro-choice because I think that the government, as I think I will just shadow what other people said, I don't think the government should say that who has a baby and who does not have a baby. However, what I will say is that there are several studies, and the thing is, different people will cite different studies for their political gain. So, Terrell, who believes himself as pro-life, might cite a study that says a fetus can feel pain at 8 weeks, whereas Grover, who describes himself as pro-choice, might cite a study that the same responses only happen at 24 weeks. So, what I would want to do is commission an independent report, government funded over a long-term period that would be decided upon the writing of a report to discover the true sort of development of the fetus, and when certain milestones happen. So when it feels pain, when its brain's fully developed. Now, so that it's independently done. It's a study that we can all refer to independently. And I'd also like to just add that I would introduce more programs to prevent abortion scenarios from happening. So handing out more contraceptions, especially to places with more deprivation, because that tends to be places where more unwanted pregnancies happen. So yeah, that's my answer.
Rebuttal.
Okay, go please.
Well, as I see, I believe I am the only pro-life candidate on the stage. But what I will say is this: I am. There is something called a 20-week abortion ban. If you're in the real mech, you know what that is. Basically, with the 20-week abortion ban, it bans abortion after 20 weeks. And that's essentially my cutoff date. I support a 20-week abortion ban. That's really where I stand with it. I'm not going to get into all to the specifics of it. Then they'll just cause a big debacle, and we really don't need that. And so thank you.
Okay, when I was saying you said 8 weeks, I wasn't saying you specifically. I was just using you as an example of someone who might.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Okay. So who's streaming this? Robert?
I am, yeah.
Could you present my screen, please?
Yes.
Because I have slides. Yeah. Okay. So far, next question. Do you support an UBI? Why so? Anybody?
Wait. Quentin didn't answer the question.
Do you support an UBI? Why so?
Bruh, Quentin didn't answer the last
Quentin needs to
question.
answer the question about abortion.
I classify myself as a pro-choice candidate. I do believe it is the woman's right to choose whether to keep the baby or abort it. I do not believe the government should have any right to say when or how many weeks should be passed on until an abortion can be removed or finalized. I would say, I know everybody said 20 week or 8 week. I personally, to the very end, or I think it's the woman's right to choose. So a 20-week ban, 8-week ban, I think it really depends on the woman in this matter. So I am pro-choice, and I'll always remain pro-choice. Thank you.
Thanks. So I'm asking another question. Okay. Do you support an UBI? Why so? Grover asked. So you're going first.
Okay. Thank you for the question. Universal basic income, I 100% support it. It's a great idea. Obviously, giving everyone a basic income, it's just going to be needed in the future. By 2030, over half or nearly half our jobs are at risk of automation, and it's going to be hard to find a job. So we need a basic income. It will grow small businesses. It will grow entrepreneurship. It will increase people participating in the arts. It could lower the crime rate, and it will lower the poverty rate. A UBI will do amazing things, and according to one study, it could create over 4 million jobs. So a UBI would do great things.
Okay, so Mayowa, would you like to go next?
Yep, I 100% agree with Grover. A UBI, it's the idea itself is just so blatantly obvious. Why are people in poverty? Well, of course, there are many causes, such as crime, for example, such as where they live, but they don't have money. So what's a way to solve this? By giving people money. And this not only helps the average person who already has a job and gives them extended income, but people who are without jobs and are on social or on welfare systems, it helps them because in most cases it will give them more than they're already receiving. Now, how much you give people per month or per year is a bit more of a nuanced issue that will divide people. Personally, the way to pay for it, however, I would argue is through a land value tax. This is an idea many of us will be familiar with, where
I agree with
essentially, where you tax land rather than income, and this makes sure that the richer people pay a greater proportion of tax, as they tend to have more wealth than income. Wealth is essentially assets, whereas income is how much money you receive per week. So that's why I support it. And I'm not going to go why I support it again, because I'll just be shadowing Grover's points. But thank you for listening.
There we go. Quentin, would you like to go next?
I would, thank you. I really would support a UBI. I think with the options that Grover said, I'm not trying to quote him 100%, but universal basic income, having the rich pay some taxes, that can help us out with raising teachers' pay and raising the minimum wage. I do support raising the minimum wage, and I would say giving tax cuts. Yeah, tax cuts to working and middle class. They can have a break for a little bit. I do support all of that. And if elected president, I will try put that into play. Thank you.
Okay, Terrell.
All right. Let me make this short, sweet, to the point. I'm not totally against the UBI. You have to see the effects of it first. But essentially, and one thing I will disagree with is the land value tax. People think that the land value tax will. First things first. Whatever tax you put on is going to affect the revenue that the government gets. Now, I'm not saying that we need to have the income tax. That's not what I'm saying, but there are other ways that you can look into that. And as Grover said, he did mention automation, that automation would take away by 2030 about half of our jobs. So what essentially going on that, if I just touch on that very quickly, and I've said this before too, something called automation reduction. Essentially what automation reduction would do to ensure that we keep a lot of our jobs here. Essentially what it would do is cut back on the amount of advanced machinery that we have in the workplace. I would say my number is about 25%. So about 25% cutting back on advanced manufacturing in the workplace that could help stop automation, advanced machinery in the workplace, and save a lot of our jobs. So in closing, or in short, I'm not totally opposed to a UBI, but there could be other things that we can look into that could also help.
Okay, Robert.
Yes, well, I'm in favor of a UBI. I'm in favor of a land value tax, and I think I don't agree with Senator McCann in his wanting to decrease the automation in the workforce. I think automation in the workforce is a good thing, and I think we should be pushing for it to start job training the American workforce into jobs that will the future workforce that is going to, because the workforce is changing and we have to train American workers to adapt to that workforce. So if elected president, I would do job training programs to train the American workers in manufacturing states like the Rust Belt and move. I yield my time.
Okay.
I have a rebuttal. If I can get
I will say this. I think many members of this debate are for the land value tax. Let's say this. There are 163 million people in the workforce. So if they receive $2,000 per year, it would cost $2 trillion. So that's a very high.
A UBI at $12,000 a year would cost $2.4 trillion.
Can I just comment on something very quickly, because I did ask for a rebuttal and you gave those things. So can I add my rebuttal?
Yeah.
Well, Senator Sanders, or Governor Sanders, sorry. You did automation. You said automation is a good thing. Well, if automation is a good thing, why are we losing jobs? If automation is a good thing, why are we going to continue to push for it if it's really getting rid of a lot of our jobs? What you have to realize is advanced manufacturing. Automation is automation, period. But you also have advanced manufacturing, whereas a lot of automation does the work for you. And that's a job already taken away. If a machine's doing the job for you, that's already your job being gone. So if automation is a good thing, then why are a lot of our jobs being taken away?
Can I respond?
Okay. No question? No rebuttal?
Yes.
Okay. So,
No rebuttal.
how would you fix healthcare?
Wait. Can I rebut Senator McCann?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Well,
Okay.
I think that I said automation was a good thing because it's taking away the jobs like building cars and working iron and steel into different things and such, and and making those jobs into the tech industry, into things like Silicon Valley, expanding on the interwebs and other tech jobs and jobs of the future, and working towards innovation and job training for those jobs is what America needs to be focusing on. Focusing on the bigger picture, focusing on the future. Uh,
A lot of the jobs that are being automated are low paying too.
Exactly. These are low-paying jobs that got ruined by NAFTA and Bill Clinton and
Like
The
McDonald's.
rapist.
the rapist and Hillary, the shrill. Look, we have to rethink the American society, and I think continuing Reaganomics and keeping these manufacturing jobs is keeping America in the past, and is putting a dampening on the world and letting China and Russia become the next world superpowers. And I think that's a dangerous thing for the future of the world. And I think
Wait,
we need
Rachel,
to-
can you go back to my picture? I want to see.
Well, I'll just say this.
China.
I'll just say that. Well, here's the thing: if you have a factory worker that's been working in that factory for 25 years, and all of a sudden they get put off the job because they get replaced by a machine, what do you think is going to happen to that person that's been working there for 25 years and that actually loves their job too?
I think that I could do a better job explaining this than Robert. Just
Yes, I didn't
considering-
prepare. I think Mayowa understands what I'm talking about. I think he could probably explain it better.
The problem is it would be a disaster for the hypothetical person that you're referring to if their job were to disappear and they had no income, no livelihood to replace. However, the point of UBI, Universal Basic Income, is that even when a person loses their job, it means that they have an income there to support their family. And even if they want to go back to employment, it gives a little cushion for them for however long for them to find another job. And if they can't find another job, well, then the Universal Basic Income is there to support them.
Well, as I already said about UBI, I'm not opposed to it, but there are lots of other things that you can look into that.
Well, I think
But I am gonna finish up, and then we can probably move on. And I've said this, I'll say it again. To that factory worker that's been working for 25 years, that loves their job, they get replaced by a machine. And the thing is, you have to see. A lot of people question and say, does UBI work? And that's the real question. I know that we may say it works now. Let's say that we end up putting that as our system. The main question that a lot of people would ask is, will that work? And I believe that's what a lot of people want to know. It sounds good, but will it work?
We've been doing trials over in Connecticut, and they've been working just fine.
So I think I will say this again for the viewers that are watching this debate. This would cost around $2 trillion.
2.4 trillion.
Okay, thanks for the data. That's even more money. 2.4 trillion according to Grover Trapes. So I will say that fact. Let's go to the next question, which is about healthcare. How would you fix the current system? Who would like to start?
This is where your order needs to come in. The person that answered it last should go first. So whoever went last, I believe it was me on that question, should go first on this one.
It was Terrell, yes.
All right. Well, here's the thing with healthcare. We do indeed need healthcare reform, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, that Obamacare was repealed under President Honey?
It was.
All right. All right.
I believe it
So,
was just a skinny repeal.
what's that?
I think it was just a skinny repeal.
It was just a skinny repeal.
Okay. So it's not repealed at all. Not all the way. Well, here's the thing, and this is one thing that I will commend Obamacare for, or the Affordable Care Act, I'm going to refer to it as that, is that it does cover people with pre-existing conditions. The only issue now, a flaw with the Affordable Care Act, is that uh, premiums still skyrocket. We need to have a healthcare system where essentially it can have pre-existing cover people with pre-existing conditions. Which, by the way, health insurance companies should not turn away people because they have a pre-existing condition that is morally wrong, and that is a sort can be seen as a sort of discrimination with for people that have pre-existing conditions. But yeah, a healthcare system that has pre-existing covers pre-existing conditions, a healthcare where premiums don't skyrocket. That's affordable, of course, and that's essentially the goal of the healthcare system that we really want.
Okay, that's it. Who's going next?
Well, I guess I'll go next. I fought in the Senate. Wait, one second. I was there in the Senate when Obamacare was repealed, skinny repeal. I fought hard against it, and I knew that it would be repealed, so I wrote up the Universal Health Care Act, which I stand by completely. I think it should be implemented, and as president, that's a day one thing. I'm going to the Congress day one, and I'm telling them this plan needs to be implemented. I'm willing to work with the Congress to amend and reform that plan, because I know it's not perfect, but it's a start in the right direction, I believe. Every major industrialized nation has some form of Medicare for all, and I think it's time for America to join that trend and give health care out to its citizens as a basic right, because premiums are too high. People can't afford health care. Even under Obamacare, people were under hard times and they can't afford this health care. I think it's time for single payer to be implemented in America. And I think Governor Traipst of Connecticut did this in Connecticut, and
I did 2-tier healthcare.
Oh, then I yield my time, I guess.
Ratio, are you there?
I said I yield my time.
Yeah.
Yee. So basically, I would consider myself on the side of the favor of Medicare for all, a single payer system, a system as close to the UK healthcare system, a National Health Service is called that, as a Commonwealth Fund study showed that I think it's either 11 or 12 developed nations, the UK has the best healthcare system in with metrics and the best overall. So I think we should try to emulate this, and we're very low down in that ranking. I think we are bottom in that same metric. However, I think the most important thing before you talk about cheaper or single payer, what you've got to get is universal healthcare. Grover, can you shut up?
What?
Grover, shut up. Single payer. So whether you're for 2-tier healthcare, whether you're for single payer healthcare, I think it's the most important thing is universal healthcare. I think it is a basic human right to have healthcare. Now, we might have our disagreements about how we may achieve that, but I think we all need to work together to make sure that we all get our deserved healthcare. Thank you.
Okay. Quentin?
Yes. The skinny repeal on Obamacare, I feel like that was wrong. I feel like we need to bring that back, or skinny repeal. I don't really know what that term really means, but if it says repeal on it, then it needs to be unrepealed. I feel like we need more, make healthcare more affordable for the people. And I heard about the bills that the senators in here have been saying. I'm not really familiar with them, but if it helps make healthcare more affordable for the people and more accessible, then I'm all for it. And I think that if I'm elected president, I will always aim to do. If there is more we can do on healthcare. We can always change healthcare, make it more affordable, make it more accessible, just step by step. And that is what I'm promising here tonight is to find the step by step process to making healthcare more affordable and accessible to everybody. Thank you.
I'd just like a small rebuttal.
Okay.
So I just want to clarify. You said you want to make healthcare more accessible. Quentin.
Correct.
So the thing about this is that every American has access to healthcare. The problem is this access is not affordable for everyone and leads to many people, and unfortunately, those who are less well off, less well privileged, going bankrupt because it is so expensive, because they need life-saving treatment for whatever it may be. Maybe they had a major car accident, maybe they have some form of cancer, that they need thousands upon tens of thousands of dollars to pay for, money that they just simply don't have. Now, all Americans have access to healthcare. The problem isn't accessibility, it's affordability. You did touch on affordability. The problem of keeping it within a private healthcare system that we currently have is that affordability isn't going to happen, because the point of private sector is to make profit, and you can't. It's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to balance making a profit and providing a good service. Now, in terms of many industries, I think it's fine if people want to make a profit, but I think healthcare, it is very much vital that we should value providing a service over providing a profit.
Okay, thank you. Grover?
Thank you for the question, Andrew. When it comes to healthcare, I personally want a single-payer system. However, I'm definitely supportive of two-tier. That's why I did it in Connecticut. It's much more affordable than single-payer healthcare. However, I do think single-payer overall is the better plan. However, again, I'm willing to compromise with two-tier.
Okay, is that it?
Yep.
Any rebuttals? No? Well, I assume we can move on to the next question. So, 80 million people in the United States make less than $30,000 per year. That's 49% of wage earners. How would you fix income inequality? So first, Quentin, would you like to go first, please?
I'm sorry, my TV was loud. You said I can go first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Income inequality is a touchy subject, because basically it's saying that this group would get paid less than the other group that will get paid more, and that is simply wrong. With me being here today, I do believe that everyone should be as fair and equal as we are to each other. So the question is, how I fix income inequality. I will make sure that a specific field, basically what I would do is to find the reason why a group is getting paid more. And if it's like a very bogus reason that they come in early than the other group, that's why they get paid more. Like, no, that's just wrong. And I believe it's a bad thing to say, because I mean, if it's racial wise, I mean, we haven't done like racial income inequality in a very long time, and that's bad if the pay is because of raciability, like white, black. No, that's bad. Like age groups. I agree. People under 18, sure. If they're 18 or above, and they getting paid less because like they're 18 or something. No, that's wrong. They should all get paid what they should all get paid if they're doing the job. If they're coming in doing the job, coming in at 8, leaving at 6, just like all the other people, they should get paid the same. And just like that, nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. Thank you.
Okay, so I think Robert should go next. Robert Sanders?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, sorry. Well, yes, income inequality is one of the biggest problems facing America, and I think that not enough government research and not enough government money. Sorry, not enough government research and not enough government money is going towards researching income inequality and the problems. I mean, the causes of income inequality. I think we can fix it by raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. The infrastructure package that Mayo proposed in the last debate, I think I would implement as well, a similar package to increase standard of living, increase job flow into America. Again, renegotiating NAFTA will raise wages and I think increase long-term growth. And I think if we ever faced a recession again, we would have to send a stimulus package that would help the workers, not the corporations, and start to regulate corporations more. Raising the corporate tax, because I believe Huntington said he introduced one in 2020. So I think raising a corporate tax to, I think he said the corporate tax was 5%, so a 7% corporate tax would raise the budget. Yeah, I haven't prepared again, not prepared. So I yield my time.
The corporate tax under Obama was 35%.
Yeah, and in real life it is 21%. So that's very low. 5%. Too low. Even to me, a fiscal conservative. So
my numbers are probably wrong. I know
like,
my numbers are definitely wrong on that. So
yeah,
I'm just basically like a Nazi anarcho-capitalist, and if that's too low for him, like, oh my god.
So Robert mentioned Mayowa's stimulus package. So Mayowa, would you like to speak about the issue?
Yes. So what you referred to is income inequality. Economic inequality is a huge problem. The problem when you talk about just income inequality is that it's a very narrow tunnel of vision. The thing is, people in the lower earning brackets tend to earn more income. So what income is basically the amount of money that you bring into your household. So, for example, a teacher that earns $30,000 a year brings that $30,000 a year is their income. However, the people in the higher earning brackets, and when I say higher, I mean very, very much higher. So maybe top 4% of people, they tend to have more wealth. So what wealth is essentially your assets equaling to your total, not money, but your total wealth. There's no other way to put it. Your assets are essentially, for example, everything that you own. So your houses, your cars, whether it be your forks, your knives, everything that you own, that is your assets, and everything that it totals to is your wealth. So the thing about an income tax is it taxes income rather than wealth, which means that it punishes people in the lower tax brackets more than the people in the higher tax brackets, which is why I'm in favor of a land value tax, because it helps introduce tax that taxes wealth more than income, because land is an asset and it's one of the main assets, and people in the top income brackets tend to have more wealth, as I explained. So if we introduce a tax that taxes wealth rather than income, it means that economic inequality can be reduced, because the people who are richer, essentially, you bring their earnings down, basically, which reduces inequality. Now, how do you get the people at the bottom earning more? Personally, I would. Can I just finish the question? I'll just finish the question. As I explained before, a stimulus package which would help to increase the flow of money and a universal basic income, as well as marijuana recreational legalization to help bring in taxation and jobs.
Okay, so try to speak in 2 minutes. Grover, you want to go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
How am I going to reduce income inequality? Simple. Cut taxes for the middle class, create more high-paying jobs, and tax the rich higher. Also, a land value tax, like Mayo said, would help reduce inequalities. And yeah, I yield my time. Also, Robert, if you're unprepared, maybe and you don't know the numbers, maybe you shouldn't be running for the most prestigious office.
Ooh. Okay. No rebuttal to that?
Can I just go?
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Just want to say, well, I'm going to actually defend my opponent here very quickly, and this is very odd. Well, you don't always need to know the exact numbers because nothing's spot on. So the facts are the facts that it doesn't matter if you know the numbers or not. The question is if you are prepared. And if he's prepared is the question to be president, not meaning if he knows the numbers or not. So,
yeah. I'd like a chance to rebuttal. Well, I think
No, Terrell.
Well, I'll just finish up with income inequality, I guess. With income inequality, obviously, it's a very common thing, especially among the African American community. Essentially, as we did say, one way to overcome that, raising the minimum wage, as Grover did mention, having good paying jobs, cutting taxes on middle class. But ultimately, those are a lot of things that we can do. There hasn't been really any clear-cut solution as to how do we solve income inequality. If you think so, you're wrong. There's no exact solution to how we solve income inequality, but it requires a little bit more research to do as to the solutions that we can take and what is the best course of action.
I mean, I have a rebuttal.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't support this.
I actually believe Governor Sanders had a rebuttal before Mayweather.
Yeah, Sanders, say your rebuttal.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, the reason we have a cabinet, the reason there are senior advisors, are because they're there to help the president learn the facts, because no one man can know.
Yes, but when it's something like the corporate tax rate, you should really.
Okay. This is going out of topic. Okay, so just let Mayowa have his rebuttal.
No, this is just a bit of a stupid point in reference to what Terrell said. He said there's no exact solution to income inequality. I mean,
because there is
technically there is. I mean, if the government mandated that all businesses, can you let me speak? Actually, so technically, if the government mandated that all corporations and indeed everything in the public sector paid workers the exact same amount, it means everyone would earn the same, which means there would be no inequality. I mean, I don't support this, but that would basically eliminate income inequality.
That's saying ain't so.
Also, socialism would reduce income.
No, that's not socialism, by the way. Just saying.
I know.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have socialism.
So let's move on to the next question.
Robert Sanders doesn't want.
How? Well, shut up. How would
Grover,
you
you're a fucking
enhance
Tommy.
border security and end illegal immigration?
Jesus.
So let me.
Oh, just some
Get the
context.
aliens out of here!
Wait, just some context
Oh,
for the
fuck.
moderator.
Fuck me.
Huntington
I think-
Huntington had like 4 caravans come up, and he like shut down the government for 9 months with the wall. So that's like the
Yeah.
background with the
So
immigration
can
in this
I go
community.
first on this one?
Okay. Yes, Terrell. Please.
All right. Well, when it comes to illegal immigration, there are a multitude of ways that can cut down on it. I personally don't believe that there will be a solution that would totally stop illegal immigration. I believe that's nearly impossible. But one thing we can do to reduce it, first off, I'm against a wall. It's ridiculous. Honestly, it's ridiculous to have a wall. It's a waste of money. You want to waste $5.7 billion on basically a monument. So one, I'm opposed to a wall, but what we can do is increase our technology that we have on the border, invest in things like cameras, really put more border patrol agents at the border. That could work too. But simply a border wall is not going to cut it. You have to invest in these other things too. They can build tunnels. They can go through the tunnels that they have digged from Mexico into the United States. There's something called water that they can go through also. There's a multitude of ways in which immigrants come in. But simply, I think if we put more agents on the border, increase our technology that we have on the border, it could cut down on the amount of illegal immigrants that cross our border.
Thank you very much. When who goes next? I think Grover should go next. Grover Creeps.
Okay, so when it comes to immigration, personally, border security, yes, I understand that. There are better ways to reduce illegal immigration, make better pathways to citizenship. Building a wall and shutting down the government for a wall was a terrible moment and a terrible memory of the Joshua Huntington administration, and we shouldn't have a wall. I can sort of understand border security, but definitely not a wall.
Is that it? Grover? That it?
Yes, that is it.
Okay. So I think Robert Sanders, would you like to go next?
Yeah, well, in the Senate, I worked with Senator Shabazz on his immigration bill, but I think that did little to nothing to help sorry, there's just a rustling. Well, I think that did little to nothing to help illegal immigration, or to help lower illegal immigration, sorry. I was completely opposed to President Huntington shutting down the government for 9 months just to try and get his wall, even though he eventually didn't. I think the way we stop illegal immigration is to, one, make it easier to make the path to citizenship much easier. That would be one of the first initiatives I passed as president. Also, increasing border security, high-tech border security, though. I'd say drones and increasing the border patrol funding at the wall, and I yield my time back.
Andrew, are you gonna say something?
I guess it's my turn. So I could go over how the wall is bad for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reasons, but I think everyone else has already explained the problems. The framing of the argument also is, I don't quite agree with, the premise is that all illegal immigrants are evil and any illegal immigrant that comes to our country wishes to harm Americans, which is simply not the case. Most come here just for a more prosperous, better life. They come from hardship where they come from, and that results in large waves of immigration, such as caravans that are set up. A famous study showed that natives in America have a higher crime rate than illegal immigrants. Now, what I'm saying is that we shouldn't let in 100% of illegal immigrants, but what I am saying is that we shouldn't immediately classify someone as an illegal immigrant and then thus think, oh, they're a criminal, they're horrible, because it's probably just not the case.
Okay, may I say that no one is watching the video at the moment?
We actually have one viewer.
Yeah, that's me.
Still a viewer.
Oh. Quentin.
I moved to end.
Quentin?
No.
Yes. My plan on immigration, with the president wanting the border wall, is crazy and stupid. And for him, doing the shutdown for 9 months to get a border wall, which he ended up not getting, is crazy and stupid. In another MEC, I did propose the New Opportunity Act, which was debated and passed on. So you know about that bill. And it helped immigrants that were trying to get into the country. And it helped immigrants with classes, citizenship classes. It helped them with housing and jobs while they're going through the life in America they always wanted. Illegal immigrants, really, I don't really see. We basically, border security probably need to be upgraded more. That does not conclude with having a wall, because people are just going to find their way to just come here illegally. And I feel like unless we crack down on border security and just upgrade that and make it more, how can I say this? And just make it stop. And if they want to come here and help them come here, and saying that everybody comes here illegally is a terrorist, they're evil, that's just not true. Okay, they're people too. So that's how I would classify it. I'll bring new bills in, and we just need to upgrade on border security. Thank you.
I think that's it. So let me ask another question. So tell us about your foreign policy stance.
No, we're not doing that. We're ending this because no one's watching it.
Okay.
No, they go back and rewatch it. That's why it's called YouTube.
How many people do you think are going to rewatch this debate, Tyrone?
People can. That's why it's called YouTube.
Right, can we have this be the final question?
Okay, how will you balance the budget? Who would go first? Mario, what could you
I'll
go
go first.
Okay, thank you, Quentin.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. The way I would balance the budget is I would go over all the programs that is going on right now and the programs that are lacking, and to seem like they are not working as much. I will take some money from those programs and put it to programs that need more money and is excelling right now, and also probably a tax cut for the middle class and have the wealthy pay more taxes. So that way we can, like I said before, give teachers more pay, up the minimum wage, and then put money to the programs that probably desperately need it, so they can jumpstart what they're trying to do, or programs that are um, that need more money because they're doing really well.
Why is this
That,
thing upstairs?
that's how I would say I would balance the budget, and I would overlook the budget, see what else needs to be done. If elected president, I hope to have your role. Thank you.
Terrell, would you like to go next?
Oh, me?
Yep.
Sure. Balanced budget. All right. Going through looking at what's important and what's not. Honestly, I'm someone who honestly don't like spending stuff on unnecessary things. If it's unnecessary, get rid of it. If we're paying for something that's unnecessary, get rid of it. And that's essentially what our government has a lot of. Has a lot of things in it that we're paying for, and essentially it's not working. So what I would do, the balanced budget, go through, see which ones are effective, which ones are not. That could all honestly cut back on some of the spending that we do too. That would probably be the main goal, is to cut back on a lot of the spending that we do. So that's really how I would budget, balance the budget, looking at and seeing what we're spending money on and what really doesn't need to be there anymore that we're still paying for.
Thank you very, very much. Then Bob Sanders.
Well, I was the only senator in the entire Huntington administration to introduce a budget to the Senate. Unfortunately, the ineffective Senate never took it to a vote, never debated on it. So the government's continued to stay shut down for that 9 months. But in my budget, we actually, me and Governor Triabs and Senator Shabazz, I believe, worked on it a little bit, but didn't provide a lot. But we were able to get a surplus, and I can send that out to all of you if you want to see it. But we were able to get the budget to a surplus, and we were able to cut spending on unnecessary things, like Terrell said, and we were able to focus our attention on things that mattered, which were infrastructure, healthcare, and Veterans Affairs. And it was very unfortunate that that bill didn't pass. And I hope whoever becomes president passes a similar budget where we can get to a surplus and we can fund the things that really matter to the people.
Thanks. So this was the last answer. I will thank when hosting this call, that is Robert Sanders, and the rest of the candidates for answering all the questions and not quitting at last. So that's essentially it. I will thank viewers because we had none, and I'm sorry for being a terrible moderator. And well, that's it, I suppose. Thank you all, and
Closing statements. Closing
statement. Oh, you're kidding. This was going to be the last question.
Closing statement's not a question. It's
no.
I'm going to give a closing statement.
Please go ahead. I will leave. Thank you all. Bye.
Yeah. My closing statement is just this. Honestly, if you want a real president and a real nominee that's actually going to do something, and not to say that my opponents want, you really need to consider your choices. Someone who knows what they're talking about, someone who actually has solutions to the issues. So I hope that you actually took the time to listen to this debate, going in with an open mind, and I hope that you see that who the real candidate should be and who should be elected the next president of the United States.
QJ, closing statement, then me.
Yes, I feel like I should be the nominee because I'm a very strong candidate, and I'm the only one that came in halfway and stay here to the end. So I feel like we need a real one to challenge. We need change. President Huntington has been a president, and that's what I'm going to call him, a president. And we need someone that will bring in strong leadership, a very strong cabinet, strong bills. And I feel like I should be. I am that person. Have a lot of strong policies and programs that will help me out here. Will help the America out. And I feel like I should be your president. I hope to have your vote. Thank you.
Well, I thank the candidates for attending, and I would like to say I'm not a candidate for president, and I will never be a candidate for president again. I'm committed to New Hampshire, and my terrible performance tonight was due to a lack of uh, uh, preparation for this debate. And I look forward to voting for the nominee in the general election, whoever that may be. And I urge you to either vote for Grover Trapes or Terrell McCain. I think they are the ones that can beat the Republicans in the general election. Oh, Mayowa. Grover Trapes, Terrell McCain, or Mayowa. I urge you to vote for one of them because I believe that they are the one of them. They are the one to take us to the White House in 2024. Thank you.